You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go.
It was shortly after 7 a.m. in the morning, and I pulled the car out of the driveway, and Harvey was in the back seat, and I was taking him for his morning walk. And we drove down the street, and we got to the intersection that is at the end of the street. And right as I was slowing down to pull up to the crosswalk, a woman, I would say she was older than me, but I'm also old myself, but not that much older than me, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying she was an old lady. I'm just saying she appeared to be older than me, maybe by 10 years. And right as I was slowing down, and I was probably about 10 feet away from the crosswalk, she was coming up to the crosswalk to cross in front of me. So I stopped far back from the crosswalk. There is some new law in California that I read about that deals with getting too close to the crosswalk. And I think it has to do with parking. I don't think it has to do with driving. But anyway, I just stopped far away from the crosswalk because I didn't want this lady to feel that I was trying to barge right through the crosswalk. And also, pedestrians have the right of way. So we both kind of stop. She stops on the curb, and I stop about 10 feet from the crosswalk at about the same time. And we look at each other, and she waves me, like gives me the wave, like go ahead. And I, because pedestrians have the right of way, I give her the wave. I go, no, go ahead. And she shakes her head at me, and she goes, no, go ahead. And I shake my head at her, and I go, no, you go ahead. Now, there's nobody behind me. As I said, it's like 7 in the morning. It's a quiet residential street. And here we are waving each other. And I immediately, being a Taurus and being a stubborn piece of crap, I'm not moving. I am not moving. And she's not moving. And she keeps waving at me. And I keep gesturing like, please cross. You are a pedestrian. Please cross. And she's just refusing. She will not cross. So I put the car in reverse, back up, start turning. I do a 3-point turn. And as I'm 3-point turning to drive the other way, because I'm not going to go through this intersection and cut a pedestrian off, she throws her hands up in the air and starts jawing at me as I'm turning around. And she starts crossing the crosswalk. I'm probably about 90% certain, 99% certain that I flipped her off. I did flip her off. And she flipped me off. And then I drove the other way down the street, and I went around the block. And as I was driving and I went around the block, I realized that what was happening was you had two people who were trying to out-nice each other. You know what I mean? Like, she was trying to say, no, you go ahead. I was trying to say, no, you go ahead. And it ended with both of us flipping each other off. And then, this happened last Thursday. I am recording this on Monday, March 4th, 2024. This happened last Thursday, whatever date that was. I think it was Leap Day, right? The 29th. And then I just realized, I was like, she's probably a neighbor. It is very highly likely that I will encounter her again, perhaps in the same situation. I probably should not have flipped her off, but I did. And so that's what I've been thinking about since Thursday, and that's what I thought I would tell the story of to start off this show. It's also what I just spent an hour talking to my therapist about, and about why it made me so angry that this one. Now, I wasn't in like some sort of road rage thing where I was going to run anybody over, or I didn't like peel out. I just calmly turned around and I went the other way because I was like, I'm not going to deal with this lady. But yeah, then I started thinking, it's like, ugh, I might have to encounter this woman at some point. And is this really worth it? Is this really worth getting angry about and causing, as I said, it's two people trying to be nice to the point where they wind up flipping each other off. So that's what happened. I recently raised Toily's Cameo prices. Toily had been here's the thing about Cameo, and I may have talked about this before, but if you don't know what Cameo is, it's a way to get videos from celebrities and internet personalities, like personalized videos. Somebody's birthday's coming up, they like Toily, you can get a personalized video from Toily, and Toily will say happy birthday to whoever you think. I've been on Cameo for several years now. I think I joined in 2019, and it's been great. It's really great. It's an easy way to make money. But the thing is, whatever price you see for cameos, the person who is getting the money for that, so, I get Toily's money, obviously, but like whatever celebrities on there, there's wrestlers on there, whatever their price is, they are only getting half of that price. So and the reason for that is Cameo takes a fee, and then most times people will book on Android or iOS on their phones because Cameo is an app. And so both the Google Play Store and Apple take a percentage as well. And everybody winds up taking 25%. And actually, I think it's more. I think someone takes 25 and someone takes 27. So you wind up getting less than half of your asking price. Now, if somebody books a Cameo for you, this is what I tell everybody. If you want to support the person you're booking a Cameo for, book it on the web, because they will get more of the money if you book it on the web. It's not as easy. It's a little bit clunkier than using the app, but if you want to support the person you're getting the Cameo from, book it on the web. I, for the longest time, have had Toily's price at, I think, $39. And if I put it at $39, I get $20. Right? Does that make sense? If I put it at $39 after fees and everything, they send me $20. And for a long time, I've just been like, yeah, $20 is worth it to do a little personalized video. But here's what happens. When I get a Cameo request for Toily, I immediately start stressing out. Like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And you have 3 days. And I have booked Cameos for other people, and it's taken 3 days. And one Brady Bunch cast member, I will not mention any names, Susan Olsen, Cindy, she missed the date completely, and I got refunded, and then she said, "I'm so sorry, I missed the date. Here's your video," and she sent it to me anyway, even though she had missed the deadline. So very nice of her. But you have 3 days, and the moment you get a request, I start stressing out. I'm like, I got to get this done. And it's almost like I started dreading when requests would come in. I started going like, oh, okay, here's a request. I got to do it. I got to do this request. Okay, I got it. Oh, okay. And then it would stress me out until I got it done. So I just decided, I'm going to raise my price, because maybe if I raise my price when I get that request, it'll be a little bit more money, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I can go do this now. But here's the thing. I'm nervous about raising the prices, right? I've been at $39 for so long. I'm like, if I raise my price, people might stop booking Cameos. So, but I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it. And I went back and forth. I was like, am I going to raise it to $49.99? And I said, no. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to raise it to $59.99. That's what I'm going to do. And I did. And the next day, I got 2 bookings. So, know your price. Know your worth. Know your price. Go for it. That's what I did. And it worked. And I haven't gotten any bookings since, but I got 2 in one day after changing the price. So I'm okay with that. The cameos really fluctuate, how many you get at certain times. So there you go. I want to end with, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I don't know, sometimes I get these ideas in my head where I want to satirize things. I call it satire. Other people might say it's making fun of. And anyway, there's a lot of colleagues who, I'm not going to get too specific on this, but there's a lot of colleagues who are doing this one specific thing. And it seems that more and more of them are doing this one thing. And so I made up a joke about it. I said, I'm going to put out like I'm doing the same thing, but the same thing I'm doing is kind of satirizing these people who are doing this thing. I know this is obtuse, but it's not important what this thing is that I'm talking about. I was talking about that to a friend, and the friend laughed, and I said, yeah, but that's probably something that's funnier said than done. And that phrase came to me in my head, and I really like it. Funnier said than done. Instead of better said than done, or whatever the original phrase was. Funny, this idea, it's funnier said than actually done. Like if you did it, it's not going to be as funny. And that's what I wanted to end on here, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've rambled for long enough for one of these episodes and taken you on a tour of what's going on in my mind. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for checking out the Grantcast. A big shout out to all of our Patreon patrons. The behind-the-scenes Patreon patrons get to see a video of the recording of this, which is amazing. So thank you to all of them. Thank you to you for listening, and I will talk to you very soon right here on the Grantcast. This episode of the Grantcast was made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Patrons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a video of the recording of this episode. Big shout out to all of our patrons, and a special shout out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Paul, Scott Armstrong, Vicky Sebring, and Ricky Chavez. If you'd like to become a patron and receive episodes of the Grantcast before they are released, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media today and set up your monthly pledge. And thank you for your support. This episode of the Grantcast is copyright 2024 Saturday Morning Media Grant Baciocco, executive producer. All rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com.
You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.